Our second series of the Birth and Baby Business Show, which we are calling Lessons from a Birth or Baby Business Owner. And we'll be speaking to those who are in or who have been in the birth or baby world to ask them the questions that you'd like to know the answer to on how they got to where they are in business right now. My name's Anna LaGrange and I'm one half of our business, the Birth and Baby Business Academy.
My name is Liz Stamford and I'm the other half of BABA, the community membership for birth and baby business owners. And today we have the absolute pleasure of chatting to Crystal Miles. So let me tell you a little bit about Crystal. Crystal is certified as an International Association of Infant Massage Instructor. She certified in 2011 and following years of extensive experience supporting families was motivated to embark on a comprehensive and reflective 3-year process to progress to an international trainer for the same body. Crystal now offers certification and a career in infant massage to student instructors across the UK, including NHS staff and government family support workers. With a passion for infant psychology, attachment theory, and the early years, Crystal has dedicated her entire career to working with families and professionals focusing on the perinatal period. Crystal passionately believes that a generation of responsive, nurturing parenting could change the world and that the nurturing touch provides an enjoyable and accessible way for every human being to experience the value and the far-reaching benefits of positive early interaction. Wow, I loved reading all that. That's amazing. I feel like we've got so much to learn here and to explore with your particular route that you took into this world. So what can you first of all maybe give us an idea of what led you to become a baby massage instructor back in 2011? Like, why did you choose that specifically?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. Lots of passion in there. My journey started, as a lot of people's do, by becoming a parent. So I had my son, my firstborn, in 2010. And at the time, I'd gone on maternity leave from a job that that wasn't satisfying me at all. It was a completely different field. I'm working for a software company as kind of a PA, a kind of top level PA, and I loved the people, but the job just wasn't doing anything for me. While I was there, I was actually also doing a degree, and I qualified as a nutritional therapist, which I thought would be my passion and everything I wanted to do in life. But pretty much after 4 years of study, decided actually this isn't what I want to do. But already then I was specialising in, I had a real interest in fertility and pregnancy health and kind of baby and children's nutrition. So I was kind of already doing extra courses and focusing down that route. But overall decided, I don't know, I just felt like, you just expect to get this is what I want to do in life. And I thought I was going to get it and actually found it quite draining and felt like it was taking a lot from me when I was hoping I'd be helping and supporting people, but would just come out feeling really drained by everything. So anyway, so then I went on maternity leave, having done the two alongside each other really. And then everything just changed. I think as soon as I had my baby, I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to leave him. And I kind of found this new world that we find when we have a baby, and was doing kind of different things. All the baby groups I was going to, I kind of quickly ended up becoming a peer supporter for the breastfeeding cafe I was visiting, and doing kind of different courses. And I just thought, I love this world. I love this. And it was kind of looking for how I could maybe work and support the families in the same way that I'd been given support. So when my son was about 9 months old, I went to a baby massage class, actually. He was much younger, I should say. So he was, I think, 3 or 4 months, and I went to a baby massage course with a group of women who I didn't do NCT or any antenatal, and I was really quite alone, but a woman that I knew at work was having a baby at the same time. And she invited me to come along with her NCT group. So I got all the benefits without the money to go along and do a baby massage course with them. And I just was in love with it. I can't tell you how much I just adored each week and each session, to the point where when it was the 5th week and it was ending, I literally cried and was just like, I just want this to continue forever. And of course I could still massage him at home, but it was a really affirming time, because I'd kind of gone to a class that was actually empowers you as the parent, you as the expert of your baby, and you know, the bonding that took place through nurturing touch, particularly as we had a really traumatic start to our life together. And I just loved it so much that I thought, I need to do this. Perhaps this is my thing. And the teacher, very luckily, was very supportive and gave me some advice about where she trained, and I looked into it, and that was it really. I'd booked myself straight on a baby massage course. So he was still a baby. I was still breastfeeding, so my husband was bringing him up at breaks so I could feed him. I was pumping during the training, but I was just like, I have to do this. And it coincided with quite a good time in my local community, where there were some free classes through health visitors, very different style, but everything was being cut, everything was being shut down. And it just felt like the best time and opportunity for me to go for it, which was really out of my comfort zone. I'll add at this point, like the thought of performing or teaching anybody or sitting in a group of people, and even through my training process where you practice a little bit, I was just physically shaking, so yeah. I could keep talking about this. So.
No, that's so many things there. I'm like going, oh, relatable. First of all, I was a PA before I kind of came into this world. And then, you know, it was my experience in my pregnancy when I went with my first child that really sparked my interest in hypnobirthing, which is what ended up being my area of speciality. So I really get it, and I just love how you talk. There's so much passion and like sort of empowerment in the words that you use to describe like how you feel about what you do, but also how you felt at that time and what kind of has led you to this, you know, part of your journey. It's just really, really inspiring to hear you talk about it. And how lovely as well to know that the baby massage teacher, when you went and said like, oh, I want to train, I want to do this as well, you were kind of like welcomed with open arms and maybe like, you know, some advice as well, because sometimes people don't realize this, but sometimes the birth and baby world can be quite competitive. You know, we're very sort of empathetic, caring people, but we're kind of territorial about our businesses. I mean, I shouldn't really put myself in there because I'm actually believe that I'm more of a collaborator than a competitive person. So that's nice that you had that introduction into the world and it, you know, being welcomed, which is different to my experience. I felt very much sort of no, get out. You're not invited to do these classes here. So that's really, really good to hear. So thank you for sharing that. Definitely.
Actually went full circle.
I love that. Sorry, go on, Crystal. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was going to say, with that in mind, it came full circle because she was she actually turned out retired at some point with baby massage and went on into other fields that she was teaching. I think more into yoga for adults. But she came to visit me in my classes because she wanted to see it in action before all the people that would still contact her. She wanted to send them to a good place and know that it was. So we got back in touch, and then she came and she visited the class, and we had a photo together, and it was a really lovely moment. So it was a nice example of collaboration and support, which we, as you say, should all do, but our reptilian brains sometimes struggle with that a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anna.
Yeah, definitely. It's so good that you had that experience. And I'd love to know sort of at what point then when you were teaching baby massage, did you sort of decide, oh, you know, actually, I want to get into teaching this. I want to inspire more people like your teacher inspired you. I want to inspire more people to get into baby massage, and it's sort of like a two-part question here. And then what sort of led you to the IAIM, I hope I've said that right, but that route, you know, for teaching? What was that sort of decision-making around that?
Tongue twister, isn't it? That the IAIM, or the full version isn't much easier. Where to start with that? So when I did my training, I always like to mention this because I like to believe in these things. And I had the most inspiring teacher on my own 4-day process, who became a real mentor for me over the years and still is. my trainer Sylvie. And when I left her training, which again, I cried through. I was also obviously very hormonal. I had a young baby, but I also was just so inspired and touched by the program and the process that we went through. And she, as I left the training, she just, we had a hug. Obviously it's all about touch. And she just took me by the shoulders and she looked me in the eyes and she just said, "You are going to go far in this association. You're going to do good things for this association." And, at this point, I was just there for 4 days. I hadn't done my exam. I hadn't completed my process. I could have walked away. And I didn't think about it actually for years later when I did embark on it. And she actually, having not been part of the committee that was training us trainers, she ended up being there. She was invited almost by coincidence, and I don't know, she just felt like she was supposed to be part of my process. So that's just something I hold. But yeah, a lot of things happened before I went on to be a trainer. So I love the name of your academy, the Birth and Baby Business, because pretty much I'm trained in most things to do with birth, babies, or boobs. So as I said, before I started doing my, about the same time I was doing my baby massage training, I also trained as a peer supporter for breastfeeding in my local community. And then an opportunity came up in the local borough to actually to take people on for employment through the NHS. So I ended up working, over the years I've worked for 2 different NHS trusts. So I worked for the Brent breastfeeding service before that got cut, and then the Barnet service feeding before that was threatened to be cut. Actually, that one's still going now. But when I was working for the Brent breastfeeding service, they were cutting the services and they had some budget, and very kindly said, we'd like to support you all to perhaps do some training in another area so that you can kind of use your skills. And I had no idea what I wanted to do, but a colleague of mine was doing hypnobirthing. And so I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. What's that all about? And just kind of went along a bit blind to the course, really, sort of reading about it, thinking, why not? I like training. Let's go off and do that. So then I became, a long story short, a hypnobirthing teacher as well. So I was teaching that for many years before I had my second baby, actually. Yeah. And ended up really, actually, I found it quite a good debrief for my first birth, and then was teaching it despite not having had a good experience based on the science and the logic, as you all know. And then went on to my second baby, which I filmed. It's now actually a video for one of the organisations that teaches hypnobirthing, and had a really amazing positive experience, and was doing that for a long time. And then I trained in. I just kept training, basically anything to do with birth, and I just wanted to support families and support women. So I trained as a 3-step rewind practitioner as well. I trained as a doula. Obviously, I went on to do more in lactation. So when I was working for one service, we went on, basically trained up to lactation consultant, but I didn't sit the exam for very technical and boring reasons involving them wanting me to redo my health sciences despite having a degree in nutritional therapy, but not nutrition. Anyway, I didn't feel like I needed it at the time. Then I trained in baby yoga as well. I just kept doing anything basically to do with birth and babies. And then I just thought, but it always came back to massage. I love everything in this world. And also a lot of the time it was running alongside where I was in life with my children. And then it kind of got to a point where maybe I'll be like, okay, I sort of feel like I've done this now. I'm going to move on and pass that on for breastfeeding or for birth now, whatever. But baby massage always stuck. It was like the glue, and it was so relevant to everything else that I taught. And it was just, I could just feel that it was my passion. And in our association, there is a process for anyone that trains to become a trainer, but it's quite involved. It's almost like doing another degree. And you have to have met a certain criteria, which is, had to have taught a certain amount of, hundreds of families and seen lots of different situations, special needs, premature babies, things like that. To have kind of gained the experience to go on to do it. And one day just decided just to go for it. I think I just thought, this is what I love. I feel like I'm reaching families in my community and I love doing that, and it was going well. But if I taught more people, then they could teach more people. And I just felt like I had a message and I would go further if I could share it in that way. So embarked on the process and was accepted and just went for it, I suppose. Just felt like it wasn't actually quite the right time, but we can talk about that later, baby. But I felt like I needed to do it, and it was definitely the right path for me.
Amazing. Yeah, oh my God, wow. You've got so much experience. Like, you've got so much knowledge in different areas. Like, that's fascinating. And I think it's quite common within the birth world that people they fall so in love with this world that they do lots of training. I was quite similar kind of early on in my when I first kind of like found this world, I was kind of like testing things out, doing different things, but really just stuck with hypnobirthing in the end, and then developed more on the kind of like mindset element of it, really. But it's really relatable. And then the other thing is that a lot of people do when they set up a business is, rather than like doubling down on the business stuff, they go and they just train in loads of different things because they think like that's the thing. That's why people aren't booking onto my baby massage course. It's because they really want hypnobirthing or something like that. But it really sounds like you were just doing it because you just had this thirst for knowledge and you wanted to know more and understand more. And then it's really lovely to hear how your passion has just always lay there with baby massage, which I have to say, like before I kind of like, I don't know, I think before I maybe met, I think we've got a friend in common, Josette, you know, Josette
Yes.
Stitcher. So before I met Josette, I think I probably just didn't really think that much about baby massage. I think I just thought it was like, you know, oh yeah, it's a nice thing that you do. But she sort of really opened my eyes up to, you know, like what, you know, why and what it's for, and how amazing it can be to like connect mom to baby or to family, and how the baby can just respond so much to that nurturing touch, and how it's just like overall health benefits, like so much. I feel like I've learned just from her Instagram, that is, that, you know, I can kind of relate in that way to why you're so passionate about it, and your own Instagram account as well, because we've only found you relatively recently, is like there's so much knowledge there that you share with people, and it's really beautiful to see. So, you know, thanks from that respect, definitely. So I think maybe what might be helpful for people to understand is like what are the things that kind of, other than your passion, what are the things that kind of keep driving you forward in this area of work? Like, are there any kind of habits that you've formed that really help you to keep going, whether there are challenges or in your personal life, or like in your, like, you know, business or career life? What keeps you moving forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, go really deep with this one, couldn't you? How political do we want to get? I think it's what the world needs. I think that drives me more than anything. I think, and as you said, you know, when you think about baby massage, it's, again, people think, oh, what a nice class, what a nice thing to do, but, you know, so much deeper than that. You know, I'm also sort of studying psychology and bonding and attachment and all these. You know, it's all there, but it's there subtly, and the parents often don't even know that's what they're coming for. They're coming because we're marketing, oh, your baby's going to sleep better and, you know, help with constipation. But we know that actually all the main elements of bonding are included, and that it's going to impact both their mental health, and it's going to reduce postnatal depression. And so, I mean, all of that drives me all the time, for sure. And, you know, and also there's something that's so accessible. I think that there are so many offerings for babies, and of course many of them are wonderful, but I feel like because we know all of this is going on in the background, it's such a I would say an enjoyable and an accessible way to get parents in, and I think that drives me, you know, because if you say, oh, you know, I'm holding this you know, support group for postnatal depression, which I've also done, but it's you know, there can be stigma around those things, and I feel like we can get everyone in on something so simple and so beautiful. You know, honouring the roots of baby massage. But yeah, I'm driven by, so that's always, you know, the main drive, in honesty. But of course, you know, you're running a business, you need to support my family, and, you know, help support the family, help bring some money in. And I think as well, just being quite a positive role model is something that I want to think about. And I mean for my children, I don't mean kind of in life, but, you know, just to show them that actually, I love what I do. Like, I have 100% job satisfaction, and I want to prove to them that you can have that in life, and it's not about academia, although of course I want them to do well. But we live quite an alternative lifestyle. My children aren't actually in school. We do alternative education, and we just want them to be happy, and we want to open doors and keep their kind of passion and creativities flowing. And I think I want to prove to them that you can have that. You've got to work hard for it, but you can do what you love, and you shouldn't settle for anything less. And I think with this in mind, that's what I did at some point. I just went, I'm doing all these things and it's wonderful and I really love all of them. But at some point, I found the post on my Instagram not long ago kind of saying, I'm letting this go. And it was so hard. I think it was hypnobirthing in particular. I was running really regular class and I was like, I've got to let something go because I have to now focus on this. And this is, it was always going to be baby massage. So this is where I now need to put all my attention. So, yeah.
That's brilliant.
So
something that
nice
I really picked up from that is you talk about your passion so eloquently and so wonderfully, but I also love how the number 2 on that list then when we're talking about what drives you is earning money for your family. And I think that it's notorious, isn't it, in the birth and baby world, especially in some particular areas, definitely breastfeeding, for instance, that we're definitely that we're afraid, or I'm not going to say we, because I'm not afraid to say I do this because I'm passionate, but also because I want and need to earn money for my family. And why can't we combine the two? It's not a dirty word, is it, to say I would like to earn money from what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about and what I know is going to change the world. There's this kind of strangely warped view within the birth and baby world that we're not allowed to do that, which maybe comes from the fact that there's a lot of things are free on the free on the NHS, and we know that support kind of is better in some areas than it is in other areas, as you experienced, Crystal, early in your career and when you were a breastfeeding supporter as well. So it's interesting. Did you ever have any kind of money mindset issues or struggles with actually earning money from these kind of roles?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I always say, I will. You're never going to be a millionaire in the birth and baby business field, is my personal thoughts. I mean, maybe some people are, but I think a lot of people aren't really in this to make mega bucks, and wouldn't that be lovely? But I'm happy to trade off. I mean, I could certainly use different skills I have to sit in an office 5 days a week and earn a lot more money for my family, but I know I wouldn't have that job satisfaction. So I'm really happy to kind of take that trade and I'll do all right and I'll do what I love. That's fine by me. But yeah, absolutely. And of course it's when you're running your own business, especially in this field, I hear you as well, this idea that everything should be free, but in an ideal world it would be. Somebody would fund us to support women and families, but also I've invested thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds into my business, into my education, into the courses that I've done, and I've run courses at a loss, and just to be there on behalf of the association or because I want to support somebody. We often take the hits as well as on courses are sometimes doing better. So I think it's it's fine. Put a value on your time and what you give and all the knowledge that you have. You're not forcing anybody to come. That's their choice, and often there is a free option or something. We've had this discussion a lot with some of our students in the association at the moment. This idea that oh no, you're training kind of people in the children's centres and they're doing it for free, and what about me and my business? And I'm like, do you know what, there are more than enough parents and babies out there. I really believe that. 1 point every minute, as they say. And what we need to do is to help support people to be more visible in their field and to show up, and everything that you're doing, you can do it, but they're not just going to kind of, that's that awful saying, isn't there? Build it and they will come, or what is it? Is that right? I can't remember. I'm rubbish for saying.
My husband asked me that's right.
Build it and they'll come, or something like that. And it's that's not how it happens. They're not just going to fall at your feet. You actually have to show up, and you have to put the effort in, and you have to invest in yourself and in your business to actually gain the rewards. So but not many people work for free. I don't do a lot of things, offerings or other things for free. And if I do, maybe I know I can get more value if I pay. So it's fine. It's fine to pay and to offer that. I think it's because parents and babies are so vulnerable, and we love them and we want to support them. And as I said, in an ideal world, someone would pay us to support them. But in the meantime, we have to put food on our children's plates, right? And pay the bills. So
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with all of that. And, you know, I'm a lactation consultant, and I've worked in the breastfeeding world exclusively now since, you know, 2015. And but I was peer supporter before that. And I agree, in a perfect world. And of course, there's some areas where there is funding available so that people can run their services at the point of, you know, free at the point of service, and then or pay what you can and then still, you know, earn a salary. And it would be great to have more of that. It'd be really, really good. But at the same time, you know, people who work for the NHS, they get a salary, they get paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not, we shouldn't be, I think it's something about being, there's definitely a female part to it.
Yeah.
Liz and I have got a mutual friend who's a money coach, and she talks a lot about money and feminism. And she was also she was also used to be a breastfeeding peer supporter, hypnobirth teacher, so she understands the birth and baby world really well. Shout out to Ray Dodd. But she talks about this a lot, like how, you know, if we go back the generations, women weren't paid for their time. They were expected to give their time for free, to be the carers, to be the one that people hold everything together and look after others without expecting anything in return. So I think for our generation, we've had to really shift that narrative and be like, well, no, hang on, actually, I am expected to be part of the earning, or the whole, for people who, you know, are on, you know, haven't got a partner and they're single parent, you know, I am the breadwinner in this household, and therefore the work that I do has got to match that situation. And without going onto a massive rant, one of the things that I get really fed up with in the breastfeeding world is this idea that, you know, all breastfeeding support should be voluntary. And it's such a, you know, a place of privilege that people can say that, because what that means is that then only people who have the support of their husbands or partners can then actually give breastfeeding support. That if you've got financial support, you can't actually, you know, if you're a single parent, you can't do that. Or if you have to earn a certain amount, you know, to contribute to your household, you can't do that. And I'm categorically against that. So I think it's actually really important that we pay women for the time and the support that they give, so that it does become a more level playing field, but also just a more diverse culture, a place where anybody can come and do this, as long as they've got the passion and the interest. And you definitely don't need to be a looked after housewife to be able to work in the birth and baby world. So yeah, I feel really strongly about that, like you as well, Crystal. So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us.
You know, the idea there has to be something for everybody. I was talking about this recently again with the example of free baby massage sessions, for example, being in a children's centre. You know, there are people who can't afford a private course. There are people who equally wouldn't step foot in a children's centre. There are people who will only do a course if it's got a £200 price tag. You know, there's so many different audiences. So it's our job as a baby business to speak to our audience. You know, you're not going to talk to the people who are going to go to the free course. So you need to hone in on your own audience and make sure that we're talking to them and appealing to them. But you know, there has to be something for everybody. Otherwise, it becomes only the people that can afford it, or only the people who are willing to go to a free voluntary service. You know, we've got to cover all bases.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. The other thing that I picked up on when you were talking about the things that drive you is when you mentioned about your children and basically being, you know, a role model for them. And I love that as well, because that is definitely what drove me for a long time. Not saying that it doesn't drive me anymore, because it definitely plays a part, but my kids are, and maybe yours are as well, Crystal, but my kids are teenagers. So I've got two teenagers and then like a younger child. And definitely when they were kind of in their sort of mid to late primary years, my teenagers, I was so passionate about showing them that I can I can do something I love. Like, they saw me work in an office when they were very young, and they saw me have those kind of jobs, which, although I enjoyed and I loved, like you, I loved the people, there was no passion there. I wasn't changing anybody's world apart from filling their pockets, the people who own the companies, and I honestly felt like I had more to give and more to offer. So I'm so passionate about that as well, about the work that we do as business owners in this particular world shows our children that, so it teaches them so much about what's possible for them. So thank you for raising that, because it really reminded me of my own, one of my own reasons. And I'm very passionate about that. Absolutely.
I get a hard time from them sometimes as well. I'll be honest. Running a business, like ours, means you are everything. Often, you are the accountant, and you are the marketing person, and you are the PA, and you are the HR in some cases. And there's especially because, as I said, we live a fairly alternative lifestyle. Sometimes like, oh, Mummy, you're on your phone again, and I'm like, well, I could go and sit in an office 5 days a week, but you're going to have to go to school, and this is going to happen. And I'm like, always showing them, like, look, it's an email. Look, I'm working, because that's. I have many plates spinning and many balls being juggled, and I'm like, and actually I think it's good, obviously, to also show them that, of course I can take the time, but there are times when I need to focus on that and I need to work, and that's life. We have to earn money, and we have to compromise with each other, and we have to kind of, if we all want to do what we want to do here in life, then we have to have some give. So yeah, it's life lessons as well, isn't it? It's just that kind of role modeling.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just reminding them of how lucky they are to have a parent that has that flexibility to do those different things with them, when the important things when they come up. But that sometimes, we just need to be, Liz and I know this as well, we just need to be left alone just for half an hour so we can get this job done, and then we'll give you our attention or whatever. So I think they're great life lessons. I agree. And I'd love to know, just sort of as a final question, it's been so great meeting you, Crystal, and chatting to you today. What one piece of advice would you give? And I'm sure you give advice to obviously your trainees all the time, but if somebody wants to create an impactful and sustainable business in the birth or baby world, what would you say to them?
I really love this question, and as you kind of give us a heads up on it. I hope that's not a spoiler, but because I really want to think really carefully about it, because straight away my marketing brain, because I do marketing courses for the students as well, is like thinking about target audience and investing in yourself, and showing up and your visibility. And then I just thought, no, that's not the answer I want to give today. So the answer I want to give today is slightly controversial, possibly. I'm a bit worried, but actually it was just to, in this world, in this field, with parents and babies in particular, it doesn't have to be 100% of what you do or 100% of the time, but in some way, be live, be visible, be present. Sometimes everything's pre-recorded, or parents are overloaded and bombarded with information all the time. Don't just be another offering that's adding to that pile, because what parents and babies really need is a human to empathize with them and to talk to. And even if that's just actually, hey, all my stuff's online, but maybe we've got a Facebook group, or maybe we've got somewhere that you can just say, what, I need some help, or I'm having a hard day, or I want to feel heard. So what my advice would be to kind of keep it live and keep it human as much as you can.
Oh, I love that. That's a really good piece of advice. A different piece of advice to anything that we've heard so far on our podcast recording. So I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I do. And I think when we're teaching connection, to then model connection.
Yeah,
it's so important. If that's what we're teaching, we want to actually, and of course we need it as well as people who, as business owners, that human connection element is so important. So really modeling that and keeping it at the forefront of your business. I think that's such wide world. Oh, got my tongue twisting here. Wise words, definitely. I really like that in this modern digital age. I think that is, I love it. Brilliant. Thank you.
And just from
a parent, you're never alone, but you're always lonely. Sorry, Liz.
Yeah, definitely. And I think from a business perspective, I think, it is the personal touch, the human touch is just so vital. And even you see big businesses doing this now, you know, reaching out and being more connected to their audience. And so even from that perspective, like the more connected you are to somebody and the more that you're showing that you're a human and that you're available, and that you've got something to offer that person, like it's really valuable. I know it's time consuming, it can be time consuming, but it's how you make a difference to people, and it's also how you build your business. So that's a really valuable piece of advice, Crystal. So thank you. And before we go, I would love for you to share where people can follow you, find out more about you, see where your training courses are, etc. So please do share that with us.
Oh, thank you. Well, my website is www.connectedbabies.co.uk, which has most things on there. Obviously, my instructor training and also my connection cards. I sell little packs of cards for bonding activities for parents and babies who maybe are isolated or can't come out to courses, for example. Or some professionals are even using them in their classes as a little activity. And then on socials, Instagram and Facebook are at Connected Babies. Actually, as is YouTube and or LinkedIn, which I can't remember the link for. So I have a wonderful person helping me at the moment who's running that for me. So yeah, that would be another tip. You didn't ask for a second one, but yeah, you know, get help when you need it. We can't always be everything. So yeah, I think I've covered it.
That is really important. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. We'll make sure that those links are in the show notes as well. So if you have been watching this episode and you have enjoyed it, maybe you've watched on YouTube or you've listened on your podcast provider, we'd love to know what you think. So please do give Crystal some love, maybe pop a comment on YouTube or pop over to Instagram and let us know what you thought of this episode so that we can keep churning them out for you. But for now, we'll just say bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.